Foreplay presented by Barstool Sports and also presented by our very good friends at Owens Mixers. We got a big show. We got our friend Chase Rice, who this is his second time on the show. Last time we saw him in person, he was thrown right into the mix. Darius Rucker had to bounce. He had a previous contractual obligation. And it's like the back nine, really tight match in the four-man scramble. Everybody had been drinking, and then boom, there was Chase Rice, who's just rolling around learning golf. And he was thrown in with Jake Owen and Morgan Wallen and Hardy, and that was the last time we saw him. He's out legitimately had just gotten back from the deer stand and joined us, and it turned into an awesome chat. It was myself and Trent. We hear a lot about kind of the behind the scenes of performances, what goes into his thought processes is behind performances, the difference between, like understanding and touring with Kenny Chesney, Eric Church, how he can make his performances better. So it was really, really good, actually. So that's coming up at the second half of the show, our friend Chase Rice. And then we got a bunch of From the Galleries that we are going to get to. So stay tuned. We got the whole squad right now. We got Lurch, Frankie, Trent, and myself. Again, I mentioned Owens Mixers. They're available in Publix now. They're on Amazon. You can go to owensmixers.com. You can go to store.barstoolsports.com and get the transfusion. But they are the hottest up-and-coming mixer company. They've partnered with Barstool. They've partnered big time with us. We created our own drink with them. That's how committed they are. The transfusion, as you've heard about, talked about, drank about, hopefully. So go check them out. The mint cucumber and lime I love. The grapefruit and lime is a big one that's popped up on my radar in the last few weeks. Lurch and I were enjoying a few of those when we defeated Pat Perez. So big thanks to Owens Mixers. But gentlemen, hello. How are you?
Publix is – I'm doing well. Publix is – Publix is the type of place where so it's in Florida usually, I feel like. And it's a place where I feel like my grandma always used to add an S, because there's places where grandmas add S's, Walmarts, you know what I mean? Target.
Yeah. People do it with Barstools. You say Barstools? Are you guys working Barstools?
Yeah, Barstools. So I always thought Publix was just called Public. And she's like, I'm going to Publix tonight. And whatever, it's like a big day to go to Publix. And it turns out that it's the IXS. And I actually think that there was a meeting where it was strategically named that because it was going to be in areas where older people were going to be, and they were going to add the S anyway, that S sounding. Publix is such an easy thing for people to say.
You know what Publix always reminds me of? Forever it will be connected to when Jameis Winston stole crab legs. That's the first time I've ever heard of Publix. I didn't know what it was. And then I guess it is mostly in the South. And then they were like, Jameis Winston, Florida State quarterback, stole crab legs from a Publix. That was the first time I've ever heard of it. And I've never heard the name Publix without thinking about Jameis Winston and crab legs.
Was that the official downturn in his career? Since then, he's just thrown a massive amount of picks and behind Taysom Hill, who can't really throw the football.
Well, he went 30 for 30 last year, 30 touchdowns, 30 interceptions, which is unheard of. I remember the last interception was a pick six in the final game of the season, and it was an uproarious moment on Twitter. People went crazy for it. But, yeah, I haven't really followed Jameis Winston since. Jameis Winston was part of my favorite, potentially my favorite sports moment ever, was when he got suspended for a game and he still came out fully dressed in pads. And he was like, I don't understand why you guys don't want me out here fully dressed in pads. It's one of the funniest visuals. It's one of my favorite things that ever happens in sports history.
Now, would a team want someone throwing 30 picks and 30 touchdowns over a guy who throws 5 touchdowns and 0 picks?
No.
I don't have enough of a football, knowledge to know what's better and what's worse.
This is a classic case of the same argument we would have in college all the time about Halo. Would you want a guy on your team who goes who basically hides in the corner and goes 3-2, or do you want a guy out there wreaking fucking havoc who gets 30 kills and dies 35 times? It's right. It's kind of, well, dude, I had 4 double kills. I was an absolute menace out there. It's you were -5 on our kill death ratio. How does that help us? So it's the same debate, I feel like.
Yeah, it feels like it. I mean, obviously the score, I feel like, I don't know, it adds up to the same thing. You're getting 7 points here, giving up 7 points there. Well, not really, actually. You're getting more points on the touchdown. Just because you throw an interception doesn't mean it's a touchdown the other way.
Right.
So I feel like you take that.
I agree. I think you take the 30 for 30.
If I tell you I'm going to be a quarterback for your team, I'm going to throw 50 touchdowns. I'm also going to throw 50 interceptions. I think they say we sign up. What do you mean no?
I take the guy that throws
right
5
now.
touchdowns, no interception.
Lurch probably knows better than anybody. Like, is he a starter right now?
No.
And there you go. There's your answer.
They're actually going with a guy that probably will throw 5 touchdowns and 0 picks in Taysom Hill. Like, he never throws the football.
I'm saying, like,
all day.
Add touchdowns to it, right? Like, this guy's a fucking he's setting records. Like, I'm gonna throw.
No, I get it. I mean, Frankie, you're thinking of a guy that just stands back there, hucks it up in the air, and either he gets a touchdown or it's an interception. It's basically a Hail Mary every time. The way you're thinking about it.
How electric would that game be?
That's what I was thinking. Like, if I was a casual fan of some team, I would love them to sign Jameis Winston just for the chaos factor. Like, what's going to happen out here?
At any moment, he could throw a 75-yard bomb, or it's just a pick to no man's land, pick 6. Like, it wasn't even close.
I'm just picturing the Frankie offense that is literally a Hail Mary every play. You get first down, quarterback drops back, scrambles around, 5 receivers just go out there, and he just hucks a bomb. And you just do that 3 times in a row and hope you get a touchdown.
I feel like that's what, the Dante Culpepper, Randy Moss Vikings were like. I'm pretty sure that's all they did. They just threw it straight up into the – Dante would throw it straight up into the air, and Randy Moss most of the time would catch it for a touchdown.
Dante Culpepper, what a name.
Dude, it's also – it's like that in any sport. Like, from a fan's perspective, we're going to obviously choose the 30 for 30. It's the same thing in golf. Would you rather watch somebody who makes, 9 birdies and 9 bogeys, or somebody who goes out there and makes 18 pars? It's like, would you rather watch the fucking – like the New Jersey Devils of the late 90s and early 2000s who just played the trap and won 1-0 hockey games? Or, like, now you turn on the Toronto Maple Leafs, they're giving up 5 goals a game, but they're scoring 5 or 6. And it's an absolute – it's just mayhem out there the whole time. There's, like, 2-on-1s, 3-on-2s the entire game.
Right. It's like Giancarlo Stanton makes hundreds of millions of dollars because he hits 60 home runs and strikes out 320 times. The guy strikes out twice a game.
But
so it's like –
that's a different perspective. Like, the fan in me wants to see just chaos, wants to see the guy in Halo just run out there, get blown up by a grenade, kill 2 people. But, like, the coach in me says, no, I'm taking –
But there's a difference between coach and if you're the owner of that team. Like, your team, your franchise benefits from coach is going to go. Like, his career's over, but the franchise might soar. Like, you're doing great.
You show up to the ballpark because Giancarlo Stanton and Aaron Judge may hit a ball 650 feet, but they will strike out 3 times combined. You know that when they get up there, they're going to strike out that day. Something negative will happen in that game, but the possibility of them hitting a ball to the moon is worth price of admission.
Yeah. That's true. That's true.
Or like an offensive player in hockey where he's just a liability in defense. And you're just like, this guy's going to end up in the wrong spot today and give up a goal. Like, the other team's coming back, but he could also go end to end and end up like number 1 top play of the year on fucking SportsCenter. And that's why I'm going to see
He's just springing for a breakaway the whole game. And it's like, no, we're actually –
Matt Barzell's kind of that guy. Like, he never gets back on defense.
That was always the Carmelo thing, too. He dropped 50 and he plays 0 defense.
Yes.
But it's fucking awesome to watch.
I love how Carmelo's actually playing like as hard as he's ever played right now for the Blazers.
I haven't kept up with Carmelo, really.
Yeah, he's playing for Portland.
Dude, now we're all over the place, but I hated Carmelo. Guy you'd pass him the ball, he'd hold it for 23 seconds, and then hit a fadeaway 2. It was like the worst.
I think I talked about this on this podcast, or did we talk about it when we were together? But I bought tickets to Carmelo's first game as a Knick with my buddy, and we just $300 each. They were fake.
I think you and we talked about that on stream, I think.
Maybe, yeah. So $300 each, cash. Guys, like, hold on, come on. First time I really ever scalped at the Garden. I always used to scalp at the Coliseum. My dad used to send me up to people before we had season tickets. He used to make me go up to them. I was 7, 8 years old. He'd act like I was lost.
That's the story you've told 1,000 times.
You have any tickets for me to get inside? I'm cold. And my dad would come running, jogging, out of breath. Oh, there you are. Oh, sorry, son. We can't afford tickets tonight. And the guy's like, take the tickets. Meanwhile, my dad's like buying $200 worth of fucking gear inside and like popcorn. Such a move. But But, yeah, me and my buddy were like, you know what? Fucking Carmelo's coming to the Big Apple. The Knicks got their guy. Like, you know, it was fucking, I don't know, New York, the Knickerbockers at the fucking Mecca. It was like, let's do it.
Oh,
Let's
that was a big
go.
deal when he signed there.
It's going to
Yeah.
be a night, like Melo's first game. And this guy's like, oh, I got you. He brings us over the corner, and he's like, I got 2 tickets, level 200, 300 a pop. He's like, these things are going for 500. I'm like, fuck. Like, so we actually brought a ton of money. I gave him $300. My friend gave him $300. He gave us a fucking envelope that had the season ticket thing on it, everything. We looked at them quick, and we're like, oh, these are fucking tickets. Turns out, if you actually took them out, they're fucking made out of like paper mache. When I went to go have the person scan it, I said, this is not a real ticket. We waited online to get in for so long that they actually started melting in our hands. Like, they were just like, the part that's supposed to rip off was already halfway ripped off.
Oh, fuck. That's
we took the train right back home to Long Island, went to my buddy's house, and we watched this from the second quarter on, just on my friend's couch. And like Melo hit a huge three. The crowd's going crazy. I'm like, so my $300 are just in some guy's fucking coat right now, and I'm just sitting here. Fucking what a joke.
Let me tell you something. This has been Barstool Sports, ladies and gentlemen. We've covered every sport under the sun on these last 10 minutes.
I was just trying to think
Except
about
golf.
what sport.
True.
What sport can you actually just play offense? I mean, outside of football, obviously, but even then, it's like if you're throwing picks, it's punishable. What sport can you just play like offense like an asshole? And really, there's no negative to it. You have to play like maybe strikers in soccer, like those guys.
Well, DH in baseball.
Yeah, DH in baseball. First thing comes to mind, obviously.
David Ortiz.
Yeah, but that's such a unique position. But you're right. It's like one position. Yeah.
But with that, it's different. There's not even the option to play defense. Like, what's the sport where you can be an offensive juggernaut and there's the option to play defense, but it doesn't matter?
Maybe soccer. I feel like in soccer, those guys go balls to the wall, and then when the ball gets turned over, they literally just walk around for like 5 minutes until it comes back.
I would want to say soccer. I don't know enough about soccer to the point where I feel like if the guy ends up not getting into his position, even if he leisurely gets there, I feel like a team like Barcelona or whatever can like move in because one guy's not in that spot and they can just dominate one player up. I don't know. I don't know anything about soccer. I'd love to ask Troops.
Shout out to Troops and Za.
What a fucking electric factory that guy is.
That guy's great. Those two are hilarious.
Whenever I watch a clip of Troops, I never know what's happening, but I am 100% entertained. Like the way he talks, his passion, how angry he gets, like he really is like, he just came out of nowhere and I cannot, anytime a video of him shows up on the internet, I have to watch it.
When he gets angry, it's like funny and entertaining. When I get angry, people say like that I'm like over the top and I'm going to be arrested. Like he's just got that accent. He's so fucking passionate about his soccer team. It's like I want to watch a game with him. I want to watch football, and see now I'm calling football European football just to have that like connection with him, so I can enjoy watching Arsenal games with this guy.
Lurch and I one year tried to force feed being Premier League fans down our own throats by betting on Everton.
Yeah,
we got him at. Shout out Betting Responsibly, Barstool Sportsbook. But we essentially were like, we can't get into soccer. We need to like force our way into being soccer fans. So we got behind Everton football, soccer team. And, we really wanted them to finish like top 4 in the table. And turns out they were exactly what we were talking about you don't want your team to be. They were just the most defensive, boring. They tried to win every game like 1-0 or like draw 0-0. That's all they cared about. They never scored. They never had a shot on net. They never had any offensive pressure whatsoever. We made it about 2 weeks, and we were like, this fucking sucks. And I don't think I've watched a game since.
Yeah,
they were so bad, and they were all defensive. It was that guy like Clayton Baines, and he was a good like left back, but it didn't matter. They would only counterattack, but they would play defense for 70 of the 90 minutes. It was the worst product I ever could have put myself through. And I like sometimes still will watch Premier League soccer in the mornings or whatever when it's on, but it was exciting to get behind a team, and it was just the biggest flop in the history of trying to like get behind, like circle the wagons and actually go forward with a team. It was awful.
There was a period, I think, in the early 2010s, if you were in your mid-20s, you at least gave Premier League soccer a shot because it was on early Saturday mornings before college football would start. So you're like, oh, this is just something I can watch. You put it on, it's a little bit of white noise. You don't have to totally pay attention. Because I remember I did it too. I had like 2 buddies who were super into Premier League soccer. I was like, oh, that seems like fun. But I was the same as you guys. Like 3 weeks in, I was like, I'm out. That's something I can't watch.
Yeah,
It was also it was the World Cup effect, because that was like what, the 2012 maybe World Cup, where the U.S. made a little bit of a run, and that was when like you get the residual for a year or two where people were kind of into it. But yeah, I feel like I was texting with Feidelberg about this a couple months ago that I kind of want to become a Liverpool fan. Apparently their coach is just off the charts. He's the guy that just runs around and screams and it's like the biggest fan in the world, but he manager, whatever the fuck they call him. So I do want to get behind a team. I also don't know where they are. Like they could be in the last match of the table, or they could be in the first right now. I have no clue. So anybody who's listening, they're probably like, you fucking idiots. Again, now we're touching on every sport. But I would like to become a Premier League fan. You got to get behind a team. I need like a good reason to get behind a team.
I was getting into rugby a little bit.
What?
The sevens of rugby is sweet.
To the point of like just watching it, not like into it. But I mean, like the All Blacks, New Zealand.
Yeah,
Of course.
Everything about that is cool. And the games are crazy. Australian rugby, like they're just sometimes on NBCSN and you just get hooked into it because there's just nonstop madness. The announcers go absolutely ballistic. The crowds are insane. They don't stop from beginning to end. And like, I don't know, we're just a bunch of pussies when you look at like the sport that they play. And it's nonstop. It's absolutely nonstop.
Yeah, rugby's crazy. I don't even really know how those guys get through a match. It's just nuts. But the soccer effect was a total letdown when we didn't make this past World Cup. I mean, that was the biggest flop in sports. And then that just cut out like any and all interest. Because they're building
FIFA ride
made it to the World Cup. Like we're the United States of America. What the fuck? What?
Dude, we ended up losing at like Trinidad and Tobago or something like that on like a rainy, wet field, and it was just like pathetic. It was absolutely pathetic.
and we beat them in Mighty Ducks hockey anyway. We got them back.
Yeah,
I just remember like Freddie Adu Mania. Do you remember that?
Oh, of course. That was everything.
The women's team has more hype than anything.
For sure.
Yeah, well, they're
They
sick.
win.
They deserve it too. They're just sick. They have stars. They have absolute stars on their team.
Who's the goalkeeper for the U.S.? Who's the tall guy?
Tim Howard.
Howard. Yeah, that guy was a star.
He was a stud. Yeah, we had some good players. Christian Onweyu was a good player. Pulisic, the kid. Landon Donovan. Yeah. They have some good young talent too.
What's
DeAndre Yedlin has been a stud forever.
Yeah. You know more than I thought.
Oh, dude, I got into I used to play a little Mosa soccer when I was a kid. And
who's the current like savior of American soccer?
Christian Pulisic.
Yeah.
But he's good. It just was so frustrating then make the World Cup. It was just a
Let's talk a little tennis. Is it?
Yeah. What other sport can we hit?
Before golf?
Yeah.
There's badminton out there. There's gotta be.
Who is the generally accepted GOAT of tennis? Is it still a fight? Or is it as clear cut as like Tiger?
Raj, right?
Nadal?
It's got to be Raj.
No, not really, man. Like it was Roger like 5 years ago, but Nadal's been such a beast that now it's like if you talk to McEnroe, he just is obsessed with Federer, so he'll say that. But there's definitely an argument to be made that it's just Nadal. But then people go, well, he can only win it. Like he only dominates on clay. Roger's won a little bit everywhere, but Roger struggles on clay. Well, is that because Nadal's been so dominant? There's definitely a discussion to be had on who's the GOAT of tennis. Like
you were explaining to me Nadal was originally a righty.
Yeah. And his uncle Tony said, no, you're going to play lefty. And so then he got sick like lefty. But that's why his forehand looks a little unorthodox. But then his backhand is just money, and he can put it down the line. He can use his dominant hand to just flick it cross court when somebody comes in the net, so it just cuts right across their body.
He's born righty.
He's a born righty, and it was like, no, you're going to play lefty.
Are you fucking me right now?
No, that's just how it went for the kid.
Wow. Really?
Yeah.
Wow.
Yeah, he's that kid's a specimen. Also, I used to be a Federer fan because I had a one-hand, but Nadal's like fight and his determination to win is unmatched.
Well, Tiger's a Nadal guy, right? So
right. Well, he gave the fist pump for him, which is a little outrageous, but I love it.
I feel like.
Why is that outrageous, Lurch?
It's just like, he was sitting in the press box with Charlie and gave this massive fist bump. It was a little too much for me, but I liked it.
Federer is not Nike, right? Nadal is, right?
Yeah,
Federer
Nadal is.
Federer.
Federer was, and now he's Uniqlo.
Oh, I don't even know what the hell that is.
That's like the big one. Isn't that what Joker does too? Doesn't he do Uniqlo or no?
Joker was, I think, and he still is. I'm not sure.
Is Joker even in that conversation or no? He's
getting there for sure. Yeah, well, it's like, they go the big three, but he's definitely getting there, but he's not in that conversation.
Don't they hate that guy? Don't people hate that guy?
He's a little bit – he's definitely hateable. He's a peaks and valley guy. He'll do some funny things on camera, but is it fake? Is it real? I don't know.
I think he's funny. I think he cracks me up.
Yeah, I think to a lot of people that see little tidbits here and there, he cracks up a lot of people. He just had that mishap where he almost killed the lady though by spiking the ball off the back.
She took a little bit. It was her time to shine a little bit. She took a little bit of a fall there. I mean, that was real soft. That was. I mean, I'm glad that everything worked out, but that was just a hard video to watch.
I mean, she milked it.
It's really interesting. We can get off we can start talking golf, but we're living in a world in which there's a lot of the best of all times playing right now, right? You think of the best of the sport, and I don't know if that's just a product of advancement in technology and human evolution, but Nadal and Federer are still playing, still winning. You've got Ronaldo and Messi, which it's hard to say that they are the best of all time. You have other guys in soccer, but these are the superstars of the world. Ronaldo may be the most famous person on the planet. I mean, he's got the most Instagram followers. He's fucking winning everything. And then people don't want to hear it because it's Jordan, but LeBron's it feels like there are and Tiger Woods is still playing. It feels like right now there's the greats are all playing sports.
Do you think that's just a product of the moment? When Jack was Jack, were people thinking the same thing that we're thinking right now? Or are we thinking it because we're in the moment? I get that Michael, MJ and LeBron, they're great. Federer and Nadal are great. But in 50 years from now, are there going to be guys just like that and they're going to be saying the same thing? Or would they be looking back saying, man, MJ and LeBron, they were great. We don't have any of that.
I don't know, because you would think that every 10 years you would be within the realm of a great, and you can make that same argument each decade, but you can't really make the same argument. I just made that argument for tennis, soccer, and maybe basketball. Yeah, but you can't make that argument for hockey. Wayne Gretzky was the greatest, and there will never be one. Sidney Crosby's a great, but he's not the GOAT. Baseball, you could talk about Hank Aaron, yeah, but still, there's still achievements that no one is Trout will eventually be the greatest. People are saying diehard baseball fans are his stats are untouchable, but you're still gonna have people that are gonna argue whatever Barry Bonds, fucking Mark McGwire. There's names there that are gonna be unachievable numbers. Joe DiMaggio, his history. There's numbers that you won't touch. Right now, we're living in a time where numbers are being broken.
Hockey's probably the only one where no one would even really argue it.
Correct.
Yeah, I don't think you can.
You can't.
And Frankie doesn't think the great one would make a roster these days.
Well, I mean, the great one himself, I don't know if we want to put the audio in, but he says he couldn't play today. And so people say he's being humble. I can only use the words he says to my argument. I don't know.
I think he's being humble, though.
Frankie, you kind of got screwed there because you took an argument that you were having with other people, and then you just brought it public, and then you kind of got your head put on a post of the face of that entire point.
Yeah, it's not the craziest point when you think about what I said. I said you just take him out of 1984 and drop him in a 2020 team. His style of play does not equate to a 2020 roster, to the point where they're this guy's he's not even on the roster. This guy, he's not doing anything we're doing in the year 2020, which I think that argument works for any other sport and any other time when you take that big of a gap. Goalies were so much different back then. The game has changed. My argument was that hockey has evolved from 1980 to 2020 more than any other sport. I think guys are still throwing fastballs, curveballs, and hitting home runs in baseball the same way they were in 1960. I think if fucking CC Sabathia went out there and tried to strike out a guy from 1950, he'd have just as hard of a time. You don't agree? Compared to if a goalie from 2020 was just stopping a Wayne Gretzky fucking wrister that he went through 5 different defensemen. And I understand he was ahead of his time, and that's why he was able to do that. But like goalies now are just so much bigger and so much more fucking compact.
Well,
The stats back it up. They don't score 200 points a season anymore. They just don't.
Yeah, there's technology that made advancements for goalies that made it that much easier. Like you're not wearing leather pads, where baseball is still the same shoulder and it's very human the whole time.
Correct.
And I think some of the sports maybe you mentioned, like I don't even know if I agree with it. Like, is soccer for sure? Is Messi and Ronaldo definitely better than like a Maradona or a Pele or the old like I have no idea.
I don't know, but like I mean, I'm assuming the argument can be made that one like Messi is the greatest soccer player of all time, right? Like
for sure,
Pele and Maradona and stuff like I'm sure they're up there, but I mean the argument I'm assuming could be made.
Yeah, look, it's a age-old argument in golf that if you made Jack Nicklaus, if you took him when he was, 19 years old and Tiger Woods when he was 19 years old right now, and you gave them all the same technology and the same, 25-year stretch, like who would have the better career? You could do that with a bunch of old timers. You could do that with Bobby Jones. You could do that with a ton of different players. And I don't know really that it would be I almost think in golf, there would be a better chance if you just gave everybody the same technology, there would be a better chance that somebody over the last 150 years, would actually be better. Like their skill set was better, because I do think that physical advancements aren't necessarily as important. Like I know now we're seeing it with Bryson, but it's not like Bryson, just because he's able to hit the ball so far, is on Tiger Woods' level. Like not even close to what Tiger Woods was doing, 20 years ago. Not even close to what Jack Nicklaus did 40 years ago. So it's not like that's been really obvious. So I would almost think golf, you could take someone from the 1920s. You could take Ben Hogan from and put them in, and I wouldn't be stunned if they were just as good or on that level. Whereas I do think you're right, where if you just took Wayne Gretzky, or you took and put him in training camp right now, I don't know that he would stand out at all. And same with football. The physical advancements are so key. The game is changing.
Basketball too. You put a guy from the 1960s on a court with fucking Russell Westbrook and LeBron James, and it's what is happening? These guys are they flying? I don't know. So yeah, there's a lot of sports that it happens. I just I was new to Barstool. I wanted to really I'm a big arguer. I'm a big debater, and that one I really hit home. I do remember that when it was back in the day, one of the Islanders coaches, assistant coaches, was at Borelli's, and they were making that argument to each other, writing things down on writing down stats and showing the way he would play, pulling up footage, being dude, Matt Karkner, this fucking guy on the Islanders, would absolutely step into the lane and destroy Wayno. Now that we play this systematic, everyone moves in a certain way defense. I don't know. It's just, we don't have to get back into that. I think there's arguments to be made on both sides. Obviously, he's the greatest of all time because he's a product of his fucking environment, and there's nothing he could do that he grew up in that time, and he just dominated it. So, I mean, he's the greatest. Paulina's awesome, and that's all I have to say.
Let me tell you a little bit real quick, folks, about Harry's, which was founded by two friends, Jeff and Andy, who were tired of overpaying for razors. I'm sure you can relate. I'm sure you hate overpaying for razors. It's very annoying. It's very frustrating. It's something you got to use all the time. You got to clean up. Frankie's cleaned up. We actually were looking at a picture the other day of when you weren't cleaned up.
Ugh.
I like that version of Frankie, but I understand not wanting to live like that.
Think about how different. I mean, I got no hat on right now. I'm showing my soft feminine forehead, and I mean the fact that I had that mustache for major moments in my life. You got to think. I had it during a whole Islanders playoff season that extended. It was basically a full year. I said it was going to be a playoff fucking beard. And then I didn't know that a pandemic was going to happen and everything. I couldn't shave it throughout the whole entire fucking layoff, 7-month layoff. And then, I went to the White House. So I was inside the Oval Office with that mustache. We interviewed the Jonas Brothers. So it's all these big moments in my life, was happening. And my face was the joke, the butt of the joke. It almost was the icebreaker. We got the Jonas Brothers on. How bad is Frankie's facial hair? Okay, it's I don't love that. So now I'm clean shaven. I got Harry's. I get the subscription, and it's nice. I get a little bit of a stubble. I'm 27. I'm trying to look 21. Right now I'm 19, I think, 20.
Well, look, it's working out well, and that's because of Harry's. And Harry's is delivering their sharpest shave ever. They're not raising prices. Their new blades are so sharp, guys. They're shaving 4 times a week. Reported that with Harry's new blades, their 8th shave was just as smooth as their first. We got a great offer for you. New U.S. customers can redeem a Harry's trial set at harrys.com/foreplay for just $3. You'll get a 5-blade razor featuring their new sharper blades, a weighted ergonomic handle, foaming shave gel with aloe, and a travel cover to protect your blade when you are on the go. You simply go to harrys.com/foreplay, redeem your trial offer today. Once again, that is harrys.com/foreplay. Barnbougle Lost Farm, the travel show episode is out. We watched it last night. The footage from this place on the drone is probably the best footage you ever had. It just pops. You've got these dunes, the kind of like green and brown shades of Tasmania juxtapositioned with like the teal color of that ocean. It was just popping on the drone. And then amongst that, you had us with like snakes hitting good shots, hitting bad shots, which ultimately culminated with a moment on the 18th green at the Lost Farm course that people will probably talk about forever and was incredibly reflective of pretty much all of our games. So it was a good show. Go to YouTube, our YouTube channel, new video platform people are using, and check it out. Foreplay Golf. That's how you look it up.
You think that goes down forever? You think the 18th green goes down forever?
I mean, we're going to be talking about it forever.
It's as bad a performance that could possibly happen between us. You can't do worse.
No, it would be tough to do too much worse than that. I mean,
try and accomplish
I 4-putted
accomplish.
From at the bottom of the hill. What really wasn't a hill, probably went up a foot from where I was into the pin. And I 4-putted an uphill putt from there, from probably, 75, 85 feet?
It's as bad as it gets. And, yeah, that footage there is incredible. I mean, my dad has watched every single one of these, and he's texted me a couple times after him. But this one, he just wrote, wow, what a golf course. Like, he had it up on the TV, and he's like, that place looks phenomenal. I think the drone work pops. Even just like the regular videos of us playing it, it's worth the watch. It's worth sharing with your friends. I think it's a place that's like, one day when the world is all better and we're all traveling and getting on long flights, like this is a place that I want to go to. Like Tasmania, Australia. We're going to go to stay at Barnbougle. It's a place that you can't even imagine fucking going to, but if you just crank the numbers, you can make it work. Like it's not that crazy. It's not undoable. You just go and do it. Like it seems unachievable to be able to go to Barnbougle Lost Farms in the Dunes course in Tasmania, but you can do it. There's flights, there's hotels, there's tee times. You can just do it.
I mean, look how incompetent we are, and we did it. Like we just went there.
Yeah.
We just played these golf courses. But yeah, my group texted my brother and my boys from home. Like they just, once it went live, started being like, so Barnbougle, like we got to go to this place. This looks outrageous, and it is. It's a different terrain. It's a different part of planet Earth than you ever think you would be at. It does seem unobtainable, and when you're there, it almost felt like it was kind of a flash in the pan. It was a dream. It was a fantasy. We were never actually in Australia. Not only were we not in Australia, but like we were never actually on Tasmania. Like, how did we get there? Like, what do you mean? Like, look where it is on a map. We couldn't have been there. And then the footage comes out. It's like, well, that's us, and we're walking on that ground, and we're hitting golf shots on this golf course that someone created here. This is pretty fucking wild. And it was we had to hit some tee shots over gigantic dunes. Then you go back through like this part that's more like a farm, and then you kind of re-enter with these great reveals, the back nine on like 13, 14, 15, these holes that are all along the water and the ocean while the sun was setting. It was fucking crazy town that we were in this place, and we had a great match on top of it.
Yeah, I mean, I can't believe, and maybe it is Rigsy weather or foreplay weather or whatever the case is, but we have lucked out when it comes to weather for the most part. I mean,
fucking Scottsdale where the weather's
yeah.
Well, but yeah, that was one little.
That's as unlucky weather you can possibly have.
It was the only day, the first time in 100 days that it's rained. And it just rained the first day that we were shooting a video.
So we went to Barnbougle. We're across the world. Thank God it was perfect that day because we were there for literally 18 hours. We played 2 rounds of golf, slept, and had a good old time because it was stunning in terms of the views, vistas, the whole bit. And then when the sun would set and look at that like Tony Stark type restaurant that was sitting on the hill, it was so sweet. I remember walking in there for dinner and everybody was already sitting down. And I was just looking out at that like vast kind of landscape and view that they give you.
South Pacific Ocean? What is that? Is that what that is?
I don't know. I'm going to say the Tasmania Strait between Australia and Tasmania.
I'm going to say it's the South Pacific Ocean.
I'm going to say, I don't know. I got nothing. I have no
I don't either.
Looking at a map.
I'm Googling it right now.
Same.
Like,
it's the Southwestern Pacific Ocean.
Holy fuck.
I think
So you were right.
the other side of that island is just like the South, like Antarctic Ocean. That's
The Bass Strait. What do you mean? It's the Bass Strait, Trent.
You're the Bass Strait.
And it's right next to the Tasmania Sea. We could have been looking out at that Tasmania Sea.
I just Googled Tasmania Ocean, and it gave me Southwestern Pacific.
Okay.
Sorry, I
was in a play called South Pacific when I was in elementary school. I was a lieutenant and I died.
How was your death performance? I feel like that's a big one.
I was like in 4th grade. I can't really remember it. I just remember I was like lieutenant something, and I was in South Pacific. And I don't remember.
You go with? Did you like scream or squeal, or did you just like?
I think I squealed. I think I may have squealed a little bit. I don't know. I don't remember how the death scene really went. I just remember being in South Pacific, Yeah. And then the next year was Sound of Music. I got a bigger role that year.
Yeah, that's a good one. That's kind of more of an upbeat one, right?
Yeah.
And you're dying as Lieutenant Frank or whatever.
Wait, was it Sound of Music? Yeah, I think it was Sound of Music. I don't know. I can't remember anymore. Now you got me.
I was in a high school production of Wizard of Oz. We were in elementary school, and the local high school was doing Wizard of Oz, and they needed why can I not think of the word?
The Lollipop Guild?
Yeah, like those. Yeah, that they needed those roles, and they needed smaller people in the elementary schools right across the street. So we were in the Wizard of Oz in elementary school. That was a highlight of my early life.
Oh, you got cast for a smaller people type.
I was gonna say, did they bring you over? And they're like, no, we thought.
You sure you weren't the hot air balloon that she flies into fucking?
I showed up and they're like, well, this is just a high schooler, so why don't you send him back? We're looking for elementary kids. No, that was we were in production of Wizard of Oz. It was a great time.
It's good.
I remember I was the one play I was ever in. We rehearsed it for months, and then we were supposed to do it on like a Tuesday. And that weekend playing hockey, I like broke my arm, so I came in on Monday for like the final rehearsal, and I was in a sling. And I remember like the teacher, whoever was running that, was like, "What the fuck? Like, what is this? You can't be in a sling. Like, you're not hurt." And I was like, "Dude, I broke my arm. Like, what do you want? I'm in a sling now." And it was a whole fiasco. I ended up having to drop the sling for the actual thing and just hold my arm there. Like, it was like a dead arm, but I think it worked out.
Munchkins. That is the word I could not think of.
Munchkins, yeah, or Lollipop Guild.
But they're like in the community.
We represent the Lollipop.
Did you guys play any instruments growing up?
Yeah, drum.
We know what you played, Lurch.
What did I play?
Oh, and they didn't even give him a fucking instrument. He just spoke.
No, I did not play an instrument growing up.
Just wondering.
What'd you play, Lurch?
You had to play the trombone. You had to.
Or the oboe.
The trombone or the tuba?
I played the trombone and a little guitar and a little recorder.
Tuba.
I played the drums. I wore a little hat in high school. I was in the high school marching band. Yeah, I had a feather on it. All my friends were on the football team. I was on the fucking drums.
You were in the marching band?
Yeah, well, so Eastern High School, like my high school, has a really, really, really good music program. So we would go like around, like we went to Disney and played underneath the fucking Magic Kingdom with the fucking fireworks going all over the place. We were in like the Macy's parade, and it was fun. It was like competitive marching band, like really good drumming. I was on the quints. There was 5 drums.
Yeah.
It was like playing a fucking full set. It was a lot of fun, man. Really intense. It was at the time like fucking Drumline, that shitty movie. Not the shitty movie, but you always compare it to
Whiplash and Drumline, pretty much the same thing.
Not even close. But yeah, it was like cool to be in a and learn it. So yeah, I loved it. But
cool.
the optics weren't the greatest.
Right, I can feel your
my My friend was the quarterback, and I was like, I had a feather sticking out of my hat, being like, "Go!"
But like deep down, you secretly loved it, and you're like, I wouldn't trade this for the world.
The football games were tough. There's no denying that. That was I enjoyed it when it was first period. I didn't like going out there on Saturdays and being, paraded around wearing fucking shiny boots and playing the
dainty little legs kicking.
Yeah.
Bottom of the totem pole at those football games.
Yeah, it was bad.
Tiger Tracker. So there's a new piece that came out. I think it was today, and it's very fascinating. So we talked a lot about Tiger Tracker. I think it was during the Zozo Championship in California. Tiger was playing first time since legit like 2012 or something that the Twitter account Tiger Tracker Golf Channel Tiger Tracker wasn't tweeting about Tiger. Nothing, not a peep. And Golf Channel, clearly they announced at the beginning of the year they were relocating. They're moving from Orlando, where they've been their whole life, their whole existence, up to Connecticut, restructuring. A bunch of people got laid off, which is very sad in the industry. And then, boom, the Tiger Tracker account goes quiet. So everyone assumed, did Tiger Tracker get fired? What's going on? And look, the Tiger Tracker account, what's it got? 400,000 or 500,000 followers, something along those lines.
Yeah.
So it's a big account. And anybody, I mean, especially all my years pre-Barstool when we couldn't be locked in all the time to Tiger, like I'd pull up the Tiger Tracker account and I'd be watching and updating religiously, because not only do you want to just check into the leaderboard app and see what score he posts, you want to know how Tiger got there. You want to know what he's acting like. Is he happy? Is he sad? Did he hit a good tee shot? Did he make a miraculous, like, up and down? Like, what happened is what you want to figure out. And Tiger Tracker delivered all of that while being, like, pretty funny cultural references. Like, it's just a great, great account. And it was pure. It was always about Tiger. It was jacked up excitement when Tiger does well. Legitimate, sincere disappointment when Tiger does shitty. Is a great account. Everybody knows the account. Then everyone's like, well, did they get fired? And a big part of the account has always been the mystery behind who is it? Like, who is Tiger Tracker? Who runs it? We talked on the show a couple months ago when we kind of talked about the thing that, pretty sure it's several different people. I think, like, in the golf, I guess, media world, that's been a long kept secret because it's fun to be, like, in on the game. It was one of the first questions I asked when we got close with Golf Channel, and when they started, providing us with, like, David Faraday and Brandel Chambly to do interviews. I was like, what's going on with this Tiger Tracker thing? So I had heard years ago, we had talked about amongst ourselves years ago, that, like, Tiger Tracker isn't just one human being who gets paid full time to just follow Tiger around. Like, Tiger Tracker is just a Golf Channel account, and whoever is working on the beat that week on Golf Channel for Golf Channel would just run the Tiger Tracker account. They kind of figured out how to, like, make sure you have the right cadence and the right verbiage and the right references, but, like, they could do it consistently. Nobody really knew it was different people, whatever. This article tells a lot about that, and then also goes into sort of the businessy aspect of how the writers weren't necessarily happy with Golf Channel's sort of not getting behind the account, not supporting the account, not being able to, and not supporting, like, the writers' ideas of how to monetize the account. And it's just kind of a fascinating piece on what all goes into it. And to be honest with you, it's kind of a little bit of a look, I thought, at some of the stuff that, like, we deal with that ultimately I think we've been, like, better at, which is this idea of, like, they're a little bit they almost have, like, a governor on the account, because Golf Channel and the writers who might be younger and who might be a little bit more like us, they have to report to, like, the old brass and the old management at Golf Channel and NBC, who doesn't necessarily get it, who's not going to greenlight this a little bit like wild card account to go out there and make all kinds of money, sell T-shirts was part of the article. So it was very, very interesting. I believe it was on the Ringer, but it was a very interesting sort of detailing of the Tracker account with interviews from different writers at Golf Channel who are not named, who have kind of run the account.
Yeah, once you got past the first part of the article, which is who is Tiger Tracker, which we have, like you said, Riggs, we've kind of known that it's like a collection of writers who were ever at the tournament at the time, do it this way, keep the same cadence, keep the same sort of jokes going. But the second part is far more interesting, I think, where it's a disconnect between the suits essentially and the people running the account, where like the suits didn't quite understand what it was. Like they knew that it was sort of popular. They didn't know that all these different guys were running it the same way, so they kept the same jokes going. And they'd shut down ideas of, like, I did like the idea where they would basically sell shirts that said "I am Tiger Tracker," and then you make this whole underground community of people at golf tournaments where if you're watching on TV, especially an NBC broadcast, you could point out these people that are wearing shirts that say "I am Tiger Tracker." Like, that's like a fun underground thing. And then I think the suits were like, no, we don't want to do that. There was the idea that, again, I don't know necessarily where it originated from, but they wanted to do TV spots where he was basically a mob witness, where you black out his face and you modulate his voice, where I'm Tiger Tracker. You sort of build up the persona that way. The suits didn't want to do that. So
that was our fucking idea.
I'm pretty sure that was our idea. Again, I don't want to claim it too hard, but that was an idea.
Yeah, we 100% came. We pitched that idea to Golf Channel. But anyways, the whole point, it's you're right, Trent. It's like the behind the scenes of the account and sort of the ideas on how to turn an account like that and monopolize on this cool community, which, by the way, is all a good thing. Like, making money off that, kind of galvanizing that community, because that community exists. They talk about how, like, everybody from Steph Curry to, like, Anthony Scaramucci, when he was the spokesperson for the White House, were all following this account. Like, it's got a gigantic following. And how can you – and they just kind of wouldn't let them do that, and how frustrating that must have been and was for the writers.
Right, where they fucked up, whoever it was, sounds like it was probably the suits, where you don't have to make it this huge thing. You can make it this underground cool thing to know about. Like, are you part of the Tiger Tracker crew? Do you follow him? Are you so obsessed with Tiger Tracker or with Tiger that you follow this account, that you buy, like, Tiger Tracker t-shirts, that you're so invested in this account? Like, that would have been a very, very cool thing, and it seemed like they just missed the boat. Like, now it's just this account that has 450,000 followers that they don't know what to do with.
Dude, and they you know, I think the article does a decent job of it, but it is very hard to explain to people how time-consuming and difficult it is to tweet like Tiger Tracker tweets. Like, we've tried to do it. We've done it at events and stuff. You might not have service in certain spots. You might not have a vantage point. You might, like, while walking inside the ropes, you might just strike up a conversation with somebody like Robbie Mack or somebody's agent or a buddy, you know, and then you just, like, all of a sudden for 15 minutes, well, you missed fucking 5 shots and you couldn't, like, so it's very, very difficult to do what that account does for 5 hours straight while also trying to do other things like these writers had to do, or like we would do if we were trying to be Tiger Tracker. Like, that's fucking impossible to do that.
You know what's funny is my main thought once I got done reading that article was, you know what they should do? They should have one guy running this account. They should have one person. Like, that's been the rumor the whole time, where it's like, who's this one mysterious guy? Come to find out it's 8 guys, whoever on site. And the main takeaway for me was like, oh, they should have just hired one guy to do it. And that was his job. He wouldn't have to do TV. He wouldn't have to write, you know, recap articles. His main job would be, I'm Tiger Tracker. But that's what people thought it was all along. And that's what they should have done at the end of the day. It was very interesting.
Yeah. And they, you know, like, if they, from a business perspective, they could have done that. They could find ways to monetize that account that would way more than pay for someone's salary to literally just track Tiger Woods. Now, I see a ton of tweets of like, this is the most obvious Barstool hire of all time. Well, A, you can't hire an entire staff of like Golf Channel writers, so that it just doesn't really make sense from that standpoint. And B, you don't own the account. So like, I'm sure NBC or Golf Channel, whoever owns the account technically, like so you can't buy, we'd have to like buy that account and then buy or pay for somebody to run it. Like, I guess one of us could try to run an account, you know, like that. We probably could, but then also you got to realize like Tiger only plays like fucking 5 times a year. So it's like, if you're going to hire somebody full time, they have to do something else the rest of the year. They can't just take 7 weeks off at a time and then work. So it's a little bit, it's like, it's very tricky. And I imagine that kind of was part of it as well for them. But, you know, they could take one of their, like, they should just figure it out. They did it. They talked about how for the Masters, they were going to bring in like a freelance person from the outside to run it. And that the whole crew that has been the conglomerate that's been running the account was like, are you guys fucking idiots? How do you not, like, do you know what goes into this account? Do you know how hard we've worked to like work with each other to make sure that you write the same way and make the same references. They talked about how there's like a multi-decade gap between the youngest person that runs it and the oldest person that runs it. So now you've got a 55-year-old trying to run this account. Like, they need to know the culture of it. So it's very, very fascinating. And I think it's worth talking about because it's a huge account in the world of golf. Like,
I think go ahead, Lurch.
No, I was just going to say, to your point of like it being a huge account, like it's massive for like the standard like desk jockeys out there.
Yeah.
If you have your tabs open and you can't actually watch the golf at that given time, but Tiger's playing, like you have one tab open and that's just cheesy Tiger Tracker. Because to Riggs's point, like, yeah, you want to know that he made a birdie on 8, but like, did he hit it in the right rough? Can you now get excited about the 9th hole because he ripped one down the middle? Like, it's all those little things the account was so good at. And it never missed a beat. I think in that article, I'm just looking at it now, 47,000 tweets. Like, that is not just I'm not working. It's like, that is so active. It's insane. And then how they went about it to the freelancer, like, well, you can't do that because there's certain emojis that they put in there when he makes a birdie or does this or does that. And it became this cult following that everybody was glued to. Like, when I was working at Oracle, there was just 1,000 guys in a room, and all we wanted was one TV screen that just had Tiger, but we didn't have that. So you just like walk around between cubes, and everybody had GC Tiger Tracker open, and that was just like the Bible for that given day. Like, that was the way you watched it.
Yeah, it's a necessity for golf watching. Even when you're watching the coverage, he lets you know like where the ball really is. Like, when you're watching the Masters, like, oh, like Tiger kind of striped that down the left side. Is that in the fairway? And Tiger Tracker's saying like, oh, we're in go zone territory for the screen to be in 2, like, no problem. And you're fucking jacked. Even though you're watching the coverage that the rest of the world is watching, you now have more information than the average viewer because of GC Tiger Tracker. It's a shame that this is all going on because it's such a fun, awesome, great idea from a company that like probably doesn't have that great of like unique ideas always coming out. The fact that they have a thing called Tiger Tracker and that it's must watch, must must obtain that information type of Twitter account, and they're just letting it fucking run amok and they're ruining it is kind of a shame. Yeah, I don't know that we'd be able to really pull this off because we don't have the juice that Tiger Tracker had. I mean, he had the access and he has fucking just not, I mean, this crew had the access and just incredible awareness on when to tweet and how to tweet. Incredible awareness.
And you have to have, like, the access is huge, and you have to have, like, secondary reasoning to be there, right? Like, if we go, the Golf Channel writer who's at the Zozo or who's at the Farmers Insurance, like, they're also there to write, you know, an article or two a day. So, like, overall justification of them being at the tournament and also handling the Tiger Tracker makes a ton of sense. Whereas, like, we don't have access at all the events. And on top of that, like, it doesn't justify to just tweet about Tiger Woods the whole time when it's like, well, we could kind of do that and just be watching on TV, but we're going to fly from New York to like San Diego and not be able to put out video content because like maybe the tour is not good. So it's very like, it worked out perfectly for them. And they talk about in their heyday, like it was relatively easy for them to make it part of their staff that was on site because they had to be on site for a bunch of other reasons. Whereas like, we're not writing written pieces. We don't take quotes from afterwards. And like, we're not journalists. That's just not what we do. We do video content. We do podcasts. We do kind of like reactionary commentary type tweeting, not necessarily like journalistic tweeting on exactly where Tiger's ball is. But yeah, like if Tiger Tracker was just one human being who owned the account, and then it would probably be like, yeah, we should get that person on staff, but that's just not the case.
Yeah.
And that's at one point they should have looked at the priorities, not to say that those recap articles that those guys are writing aren't getting clicks, but I bet the Tiger Tracker, all the Tiger Tracker stuff gets way more traction and has way more of an impact than some of the articles, some of the recap articles that these guys are writing. And that's just like a mismanagement of priorities.
Right. It's 100%. And if they focus, like you can monetize what that Tiger Tracker account is doing way more than you can monetize an article. And we know that because we have a website. Like, don't get me wrong, the blog's very important. Ranking page views to it all day. But if you were to isolate any one, article about, golf that day versus the fan engagement and the reaction and how glued into the account people are for like 6-7 hours a day for 4 days straight at every event. Like even his practice rounds are like must read tweets. It's like, how's Tiger playing on Tuesday? Like, what's his demeanor like in the Pro-Am on Wednesday? Is he smiling? Oh, he's smiling. Fuck yeah. You share that with your boys. Like, do you hear Tiger smiling and he just made 2 birdies in a row on Wednesday? It's like, you're just into it. And then you're comparing that, or you're prioritizing like what Paul Casey said about his TrackMan numbers on Wednesday. Like, who gives a fuck about that? So, you know, I agree with you. It's clearly a misunderstanding of the priority. And it sucks because it seems like they sort of have already missed the boat and mismanaged it. And now the account is, at least for the time being, just dormant. And I mean, Tiger's playing with his son this weekend. Doesn't sound like there's going to be any tweeting about it.
That's just a mess. And it is like, it's almost like old metrics too of, you know, Twitter gets so many likes, so many retweets, and they're carried about like, I don't know, page time and whatever other metrics you get off a standard website. But like, when I go back to the example of just me and all my like coworkers looking at, like, we would just sit on that like specific URL for GC Tiger Tracker all day long. So like, if you wanted to compare like metrics of like read time, how much time I was on a page, which I don't think Twitter actually looks at, like we would just be on that one page all day long. And it's just a total mismatch. Like the fact that there's going to be potentially, like, I don't know this for sure, but like a dormant GC Tiger account when Tiger is playing with his son could be the biggest day for that account in the history of the account. Like they could launch a GC like Charlie tracker, you know, like it just, and the tracker game, as now we all know, is becoming so weird and wild. And now Trent's thinking, hey, maybe that's our idea. Maybe we should launch that account.
Charlie tracker made my ears perk up. And I just, you know, it's interesting.
Also, like, how hard would it be? Think about how many people, like we said, are tuned into every single tweet. I mean, I've been there thousands of times where you're just refreshing Tiger Tracker, waiting for the update. And if like once an hour you just tweeted out a fucking sponsored tweet, like how hard would that be? You know, like fucking go to owensmixers.com. We got this great transfusion with like a nice picture of a transfusion. It's like, you know how much value there is in that? And that's not gonna, you're not ruining the account. Like everyone, you know how easily I would sign up for that? I'd be like, yeah, fucking plug me all day. I just keep giving me the Tiger updates. I don't care. I'll buy your fucking transfusion. That's great. Just keep giving me the updates. I'm happy to support, just like people do with us. Like they're happy to go to our URLs with our codes and buy our stuff because they get to listen to a podcast that's free every day, twice a week. Great. Give it to me. I'm happy to play along. This is how the world works. We live in a capitalist society, and they've just never been able to do that. And that's crazy.
It is. Like, it would be so easy. It's like not even being creative. It's like, oh, Tiger's making the turn. Guess I have time to run and go get like an Owens mixer. Like, you know what I mean? Like it's the easiest. Like it's an update, yet also an ad. Like it is so simple, and they just mismanage that to like 1,000th degree.
Just like a zoom in from his, you know, like Tiger nips one tight on the par 5 going for it too. He almost hold it out for eagle, and then you've got like a sweet up close, high quality photo of like his tailor-made wedges, and it's like, remember he's using the blah blah blah. You get that here, and I'd be like, you know how many of those you would sell? It's like it's so easy to do, and they just never did it.
Right. You could almost co-sponsor, like you just, as a sales team, you reach out to all of Tiger's sponsors and just be like, we're not Tiger, but like we're the same thing as him, and we'll just like continually promote all of his brands. So sign a deal with TaylorMade and everybody else he works with, and lo and behold, like you have just perfect synergy.
And I feel like I can sense right now, at least a couple of those writers that worked on that account are listening to this, because I know they listen to the show. They're pulling their hair out because it says in the article that like that's pretty much what they pitched, and they pretty much said like we could work with Tiger sponsors, we'll be like whatever. And I'm sure I know those guys. I know that like how flustered they must have been that you have this massive asset. They see other like alternative golf media, ourselves included, and probably at the forefront of it, that like are capitalizing on things like this. And they've just been roadblocked the whole time. And to the point now where Golf Channel had to, you know, it's restructured, it's relocated, and it's just got to be really, really frustrating. As a fan of the account, it's very frustrating.
I think it's going to lay dormant. I think it's going to lay dormant, at least for the foreseeable future.
There's so many business paths to make that work, though. It's like, all right, so you manage the account, no expense to the Golf Channel. Like, if I was the person, if I was GC Tiger Tracker, I'd be like, look, I'm going to manage this account. I'm going to go to the tournaments. I'm going to tweet about it. I'll give you 20% of all revenues, but I've got a business path that's going to make this work. And like, it's no expense to them. Like, I can't believe that they can't come to terms on this to make it go forward, because the last line is sad and sucks. And they're like, sadly, it's just a nasty divorce. And you're like, oh, that's just a bust on so many levels. Like, how can you let that be?
Really speaks to how big of a personality Tiger Woods is, that there's getting in legit arguments and corporations are weighing in, and they're writing media articles about the guy who follows him on a golf course and tweets about every shot of his. It's really incredible.
What if Tiger stepped in and just did an ad and posted it online? It's like, I need the GC Tiger tracker to exist. Can you imagine the scrambling suits?
Or if like Golf TV just absorbed it. I mean, that Tiger Tracker is already North Korea-like in terms of how they follow him and love him. They might as well just absorb it, throw a guy on it, and take it to however far they want to.
You know what's almost more, and it's a little more off topic, but what's more disastrous of what's going on with Tiger Woods? And we talked about this a little bit.
You just got so sad. Are you okay?
Yeah, you're
The fact that Tiger Woods doesn't have an all-time great logo is one of the biggest misses in the history of sports, right? Like, we were comparing it to Michael Jordan, and he's got the Jumpman logo. And the more I think about it, the more it pisses me off that Tiger Woods, the coolest, baddest motherfucker on the planet, who is a fucking machine, who is built to kill, the greatest golfer of all time, doesn't have like a shoe or a hat that the whole world wears. No one wears Tiger Woods golf shoes. No one really wears like the mock neck shirt when they're golfing. The fact that like it's not this Tiger logo or something really cool that we're just wearing hoodies all day long, every day. Like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Fucking give me a million different hoodies, hats, fucking beanies, sweatpants, shoes, Jordan. Why not?
This is the Pat Perez. This was the conversation we had with him while we were clearly going over his Jordan collection. And it's like, it's a miss. The coolest Tiger Woods logo that's ever been is the one we came up with that we sold tons of, which was like the Tiger fist bump,
Right.
where it's like, "Make Sundays great again" underneath it. And that logo was really cool. You also, the Frank head cover logo that they've come out with in the last couple of years, that thing fucks. But the actual TW, I'm not going to say it's horrific, but relative to Jordan, it is horrific. Like, it could be so cool. He could have sold and created such a brand. Look at how much money – what's Jordan make? $400 million a year off of the Jordan brand, the Jordan logo, the Jordan shoe. And Tiger's not making anything close to any – he's probably not making anything. Now, people do wear the Tiger Woods hat a decent amount, but outside of that, you really don't see it anywhere.
I got one right here. Yeah, I got one right here. That's it.
So like, that's a good logo, right? Like, it's a fine logo, but it's TW. It's like when you're thinking of Tiger Woods, like, sure, Tiger Woods, TW, his initials, like, we'll put him in a cool little fucking thing. But like, it's just, it never really caught on.
This would be a good secondary logo.
Yeah, it just never caught on. There's nothing about Tiger Woods that he doesn't own golf apparel. He doesn't own – Michael Jordan owns basketball.
Yeah.
Well, yeah.
Tiger Woods doesn't own golf, even though he does. He just didn't take advantage of him. He owns golf more than – Tiger Woods owns golf more than Michael Jordan owns basketball, I think, almost, like, to the sport, right? There's so many superstars in basketball. There's not that many in golf, and Tiger is the number one superstar who transcended the sport. He just didn't take advantage of it. Michael Jordan just knew. He's a fucking savant when it came to this stuff, and it's just a shame that Nike and all these other people that did this shit for Jordan couldn't fucking figure it out for Tiger Woods, because he's just as fucking cool.
Like that, like the Jumpman for Jordan is just the act of him jumping from the foul line and amazing everybody else to potentially do that before. Like that action logo, like Tiger owned the, like, you know, just like not the fist bump, not fist bump. What is that?
Pump.
Fist pump. There it is. Yeah. Fist bump. He owned the fist bump. Like that. I feel like that could have been the logo. That should have been it, but they just mismanaged it, and it's just a shame. And you know, by some inside sources, it sounds like he doesn't even want to do it.
Two idiots from Barstool Sports came up with a better Tiger Woods logo than they did over 20 years ago.
Of course we did. I mean, yeah, it was a no-brainer. It's like we sent a couple emails to our graphics guy at the time, and they just whipped up that logo in like a day and put it out, and people went crazy. Tiger Tracker, not to bring this full circle, but Tiger Tracker tweeted about it. He's like, "Oh, this shirt's sick," and it was like kind of a no-brainer. Now that I look back, Tracker might have been doing that as a fuck you to Golf Channel, which I mean that could have been, who knows? But the whole point is that, like, yeah, Tiger could have been what could have been branding-wise. I mean, we should be obsessed with Tiger flat brims and Tiger hoodies. And, like, the only Tiger stuff we wear, the red mock necks, we do it as a bit. Like, we kind of do it as a buffet of bits whenever we do it.
That's literally that's the only reason I have this hat is for when we're like, hey, we're going to do something Tiger-like. Let's do the red mock neck and the black pants and the black hat. Like, that's it.
Yeah, we do it as a joke. Like, we're kind of mocking the whole situation. Instead, like, it should be – even we talk on the show. Like, if someone shows up in a Tiger outfit on the golf course, like, they're usually to be laughed at. It's, like, kind of a joke that they're going to – like, unless you're going to shoot 61, like, you can't show up wearing that outfit.
I guess in Tiger's defense, like, you know, Nike backed up so many Brinks trucks to his house that he doesn't have to worry about it. It's just he could have made, you know, a couple billion as opposed to a couple $100 million. So at the end of the day, he's like, what do I care? Like, yeah, it'd be nice, but I'm still living a pretty nice life. But he could be making Michael Jordan money yearly.
And let's be honest, it's not like we keep saying Tiger. It's not up to Tiger to, like, come up with his logo and be the branding guy. And it wasn't up to Jordan either. I'm like, that was his team. Like, yeah, obviously he's a part of it. He makes some decisions, but ultimately, like, your team around you, and that's just a miss. Like, Tiger's gear should be something, and it's just not. Like, yeah, they've done a little bit, and people probably throw something like, well, they sold that. It's not iconic. It's not cool. It's not something that, like, look at what Jordan's shoes are. Look at it's just fucking awesome. The Jumpman is awesome. And
even the equipment he didn't take advantage of.
Yeah.
Like the Sasquatch and the Nike equipment was unusable. It was, people bought it because it was Tiger, but, like, it wasn't really the Tiger driver. Like, Tiger doesn't have fucking clubs. He doesn't have putters. He uses TaylorMade. He uses Scotty Cameron. You know, it's like he uses other brands, which is great for the brands. But, like, you would think, like, Jordan was trying on his shoes and wearing new shoes and perfecting his shoes before playoff games and, like, putting on new pairs of shoes and he was being like an ambassador for his brand while being the best at his sport. Like, Tiger's, like, yeah, he's wearing the red, and that's the best branding maybe in sports history, the red on Sunday. But it doesn't translate to me going to the mall and buying something or supporting Tiger Woods. I'm not saying he needs any more money, but, like, fuck, he could have taken – neither did Michael Jordan. Michael Jordan didn't need any more money.
Right.
He's sitting on a fucking pile of cash now because he has guys like Pat Perez filling up his fucking movie room with thousands upon thousands of shoes for hundreds of thousands of dollars.
Jordan hasn't played basketball in 20 years, and still to this day, when there's a shoe drop, people go fucking crazy. The people are on the internet, they're like, oh, I didn't get him that time. People are like, oh, fuck you, I got him. Like, that's still happening, and Jordan hasn't played basketball in decades.
And Jordan's a little bit of a different, like, selling point. He's the Chicago Bulls. He's the NBA. He was winning all these championships, but, like, and he had people waiting outside his fucking hotel room everywhere he went. Like, Tiger's super private. That's the way they live their lives. Like, Jordan was in the limelight. Tiger tried to hide from it, I feel like, when it came from off the golf course. But, like, he still had the same opportunity. And then in the early 2000s, late 90s, when Tiger Woods is winning the Tiger Slam and all these things are happening, like, he could have sold just as much his brand as anyone else. He was on all the commercials, but he was pushing just regular Nike products. Like the Nike swoosh, his swing would go in slow motion with a symphony commercial. And instead of it being like the Tiger Woods Golf Club, it was like Nike. It was just the brand. He was pushing someone else's brand, getting a shit ton of money for it. But it's like we missed all these years a really cool logo with really cool merch. Because my room, like Pat Perez has a fucking room of Michael Jordan. I want to have a room of Tiger Woods shit. It's not just going to be a bunch of fucking red shirts and driver head cover that they don't even really sell.
I agree. It's a miss. I wish that we had that. I really do. Another thing that would be a miss, by the way, is to not have Roman whenever you're having sex. Sex is cool. We talk about it a lot.
Sex is awesome.
I don't know if we talk about it a lot. Do we talk? I'm not sure. But we do talk about it. Most guys have tried different ways to last longer. thinking about maybe Tiger's logo or whatever, which Trent now has on his forehead, might not always work. What will work, Roman. The folks at Roman, which is an online men's health company, they're changing the game with the Roman swipes, the secret to longer-lasting sex. Roman swipes are a clinically proven way to last longer in bed. They are effective, easy to use, and fast-acting, but they do not require a prescription. They're super easy to use. Take the swipes out of the packet, swipe them on, let it dry, and you are good to go. You go to getroman.com/4. You can get your first month of swipes for just $5 when you choose a monthly plan. That is getroman.com/4. Go to getroman.com/4. Okay. Once again, we have a long show, and we didn't get to a single from the gallery, which happens every fucking time that we do this show. But I do have good news for folks, which is that our little programming update we did earlier, pretty much the next couple shows and the next, couple weeks of shows, we're going to just let it rip going through from the galleries for hours and hours. And we're going to put those, 3 or 4 shows out throughout the holiday. So those are coming. All from the galleries that you guys submitted. Please submit more. Email us, foreplay@barstoolsports.com. Title it from the gallery. Don't make it longer. I won't read it. And we're just going to crank through dozens of from the galleries over the next couple weeks. So we will get to them. Now it's time to get to our good friend, country music star, Chase Rice. All right, we'll kind of hop right in. We don't do official introductions. We got Chase Rice. I think it's your second or third time on the show. Last time we saw you was really you were thrown in the fire. I mean, it was probably the 12th or 13th hole, back nine scramble match, and Darius Rucker just leaves. And then Jake Owen and company tagged you in, and all of a sudden you had to play in this match.
Yeah, I literally just started golfing this year. Before this year, I didn't have clubs. I bought a bag before I even had clubs to put them in. I don't know why I did that, but now I got that bag filled up with my own clubs, the extra half-inch with the 2-degree upright. Man, I'm dialed now. I got a new driver last week. I just learned to golf this year. I love it. The first time I met you guys, like I said, I wasn't even golfing then. So this year's been obviously a lot more downtime, so you got to figure out what to do with it besides just writing songs and producing all the time. So I got into golf, and it was right there at Troubadour. So I went from not golfing at all to now owning a house on a golf course.
Yeah, what made you get into it? Was it the pandemic, quarantine, and more downtime? I know all those country guys, they seem to golf. Was part of that? Like, what got you into it?
Yeah, it was literally just having a lot of downtime. I love hunting, I love fishing, and I love music. Those are the biggest three for me, and now I throw golf into that category because I just didn't have anything to do. I mean, I get burned out if I'm writing too many songs. So I was with James Neal and Ryan Johansson from the Nashville Predators, and those guys are big golfers. So they started going to this new place called Troubadour in town. And like I said, I literally through going with those guys to Troubadour. And Troubadour is a different style of golf. It's music playing, it's drinking. I don't have one score still to this day on a scorecard filled out fully from Troubadour because I haven't finished 18 holes yet, or at least I haven't finished it even halfway sober. So it's a fun style of golf, which I think really made me start enjoying it. But now I go to the range. I'm out there in the shed, getting it done, trying to figure out how to drive over 300 yards, trying to figure out, when I was looking at clubs, the question it always asks you online is how far you hit your 7-iron. I'm like, how the hell am I supposed to know how far I hit my 7-iron? Who knows that? And now I'm realizing that's pretty common knowledge to know how far you hit your clubs.
Yeah, but it's also like you could just be like, which swing? Like I could hit my 7-iron 120 if I miss it. I could hit it 175 or 80 if I flush it. So it's tough. Like I remember when earlier this year when I was doing my little quarantine at Pinehurst, I went over to Pine Needles one day. I think it was the True Spec guys. And they're like, we want to give you the whole fitting experience. We'll kind of take care of you. I was like, of course I'll do that. So I hop over there, and I was shanking my 6-iron. Every other swing was just a cold shank. And they're like, we think you need these shafts. And I was like, no, I don't need anything right now. I need to go home, take a nap, maybe like a warm soup, because I can't hit the ball in play. So how are you supposed to judge off of that? I feel like the same thing with like how far do you hit your 7-iron. It's like, dude, some days I hit it 150, some days I hit it 180. I don't have any fucking idea how far I hit.
Yeah, it's for me. and then people are like, oh man, I did a soft 7. It's like, I don't have a soft 7 in my bag. I don't have a soft anything in my bag. I'm swinging full on every time I hack at that ball. So I'm just trying to figure out what that is. And the better I'm getting, now I'm like, man, I just hit my 7-iron or sailed the green at 170 yards. I guess that's a 6-iron, or I guess that's an 8-iron now for me. But yeah, it's an interesting game. And I asked Ryan Johansson, I asked him, I said, when you're over the ball, are you contemplating like, man, I hope I connect this time. I hope I don't duff it. I hope I don't swing it right. Just completely shank it like you were just talking about. And he just looks at me like I have 2 heads. He's like, no, I just know I'm going to hit the ball solid every time. And I don't know how you get to that point. I think you can only get to that point if you grew up golfing. I genuinely don't believe that you can get great at golf if you start later in life. I'm starting to question that because I have my great shots and I can be good, but then there's always going to be that one that's like, oh, yep, I'm clearly not great at golf.
Over the ball is really interesting. Some people say, have no thoughts. You want to clear your mind, or you want to have one swing thought, or you don't want to be thinking about too much. I still haven't perfected that, but I think getting closer to having no thoughts is better than having 500 thoughts. Like, oh, I got to come through. Oh, I got to go. Having less thoughts, I think, is a good thing.
Yeah, for me, it's like if I'm up there playing on stage, I'm not thinking about it. I'm just doing it. If I played football, I wasn't really the best games I played. It wasn't like, okay, ball's about to snap. I need to be in my A gap. No, you're sitting over there. Right. You're watching the quarterback. You're watching everything, knowing what you're supposed to do, but you're just reacting. And I've not gotten to that point in golf yet. Not sure I ever will, because I do think golf is much more of a mental game than any other sport. Like Colt Ford said it to me one time. He said, man, there's no other sport where you're standing completely still when you're about to do that. You grew up playing that when you're about to do your job. Like football, you're moving around. Baseball, you're sitting up there like this. It's like golf, you're like, that's not normal.
Dude, it is so interesting. I've always – over the ball is such an interesting place in sport, right? It's like one of the most interesting places in all of sports is when you're standing over a golf ball about to take a swing. And, like we're talking now about how you're right. Like a lot of it's so reactionary. I think maybe that's like the Matt Wolff thing where he does the hardcore, like right knee kick in to activate the hips. Like Jack Nicklaus did a little head tilt to get kind of like a swing trigger. And and other guys do like a waggle. You see like some part, like Jason Duffner has the most epic waggle of all time where he 3 gigantic waggles over the ball. But it is dude, when you're over the ball, I do wonder all the time, like Rory McIlroy, right? Like he's not thinking, okay, man, like take it back, like don't take it back too far inside, and then when you get to the top, like point the shaft to the right, and then like I guess he's probably just thinking like I'm gonna draw the ball or whatever, and that must be awesome.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know what that's like, but yeah, I think it's just they've done it so much. You got to do it as a kid. What you do as a kid, you usually pick up a lot easier later in life. I can handle all that. The waggles, Furyk swing. I can handle all the weird stuff about golf. What I cannot handle is more than one practice swing. If you take more than one practice swing, I'm losing my mind. I'm like, hit the damn ball. Like, it's not – come on. You're not going to get any better with 16 practice swings. Just hit the damn thing.
Yeah. People usually waste their good swing on the practice swing. Our guy, Frankie, who's not here right now, but his best swings are always the practice swing, and we tell him every single time, don't practice swing. Just step up to the ball and hit it, and he always uses his best swing on the practice swing. I'm with you, though. If you start practice swinging more than once, you better be on the tour. Like, you better hit a great ball, because otherwise you're just wasting our time.
Yeah, my buddy John, who actually introduced me to – he's my tour manager. He introduced me to Barstool back in, 2010 or 2012 or something like that, way back. And he's the king of that. He gets over there and both his practice swings with the driver hit the ground. I'm like, dude, you're not supposed to hit the ground with your driver. And I don't know much about golf, but I know that. And then he gets up there and he's like, oh man, I dropped my right knee and my left ankle twisted a little bit more. It's like, no, you hit the ground, both practice swings. You're going to hit the damn ground when you do your real swing too. And that's if he only takes 2 practice swings. Usually it's like 3. Oh, come on, John. John, if you're watching this, hit the damn ball. Just get up there and hit it.
It's infuriating when people – if I'll say this. If you take 2 or 3 practice swings and then you flush it down the middle and you shoot like even par, you post a really good score, I can handle it a little bit because it's like that's working. And overall, you're good enough that you're actually saving us time because the rest of us, I mean, if I'm hitting fucking 85 shots, like that's just going to take longer than it takes to hit. So
Yeah, true.
that I can stomach it. But you're right. When someone goes up and they take a million practice swings, and again, a shout out to our guy Frankie, who he's not a slow player.
No.
But when he was going through his chipping, and his chipping's not perfect now, but it's better. When he was going through the worst of his chipping yips, dude, he would take like 11 practice yips. He would stand there, just kept, and then just blade one 70 yards over the green. You're like, dude, no, like you just got what you got. You're not gonna find it out here.
I'm with you, man. I'm glad you guys agree because it drives me nuts. And then you can't be like, just hit the damn ball because then they stop and they're like, dude, you just messed up my whole thing. I got to redo it.
Yes.
Come on. Just hit the ball.
I got to redo it. Oh, isn't that the word? It's like that, man. I remember growing up, getting into the game, you know, I guess not growing up, but maybe when I was 17, 18, I started to really get into golf. So it was probably 15 years ago. And you know how that is. You're watching Golf Channel nonstop. You're reading like Golf Digest articles. You're on a plane and you find yourself like deep in like fucking, you know, Ledbetter's thoughts on how to like perfect the swing. And a lot of it was like pre-shot routine. And I remember going through that phase then where every one of my buddies now had like a pre-shot routine. And they would go through their whole pre-shot routine before every swing and then hit a 40-yard slice that went like 210. And you're just like, dude, no. Like I get if you're trying to win a golf tournament on tour and you're trying to make $1 million and you need to, in the moment, like try to somehow fight off the nerves and stick to – I get that like a routine is kind of how you get – dude, we're out here trying to break 100. Like what the fuck are you – step up and hit the ball.
Like it's like you're all of a sudden you're playing with a bunch of Jason Days who shoot triple digits. It's crazy.
Closing their eyes and visualizing behind the ball for 15 seconds. You're like, dude, what are you visualizing? I know. I'll paint the picture for you, dude. You're going to come over the top. You're going to cast at it. It's going to spin off to the right. We'll go find it. We'll hit it again. You don't need to do the routine.
Yeah, they do the whole Bagger Vance thing. It's like visualize the field or whatever they're talking about. Come on, you're not in Bagger Vance. Just hit the ball.
We've been you know what's even worse is we've been playing video games, that PGA Tour 2K21. I don't know if you guys play that at all, but there's a practice swing option on that. And there's guys who will come up to the ball in a video game and they'll take 3 practice swings and I want to throw my controller through the TV. It's like, will you just hit the fucking ball? It's a video game. That game's great, but that's the most infuriating part that they even give those guys an option.
You got to be a real asshole to take a practice swing in a video game.
Yeah.
No, that's even – yeah, you do that. You deserve to have a video control come out of your TV and hit you in the forehead. That's bad, man. And then for me lately, what I've also noticed is if I'm hitting the ball really well on the range, oh, my God, I'm about to have the worst day of golf I've ever had. I don't get that. I guess you, like you said, you waste your good swings.
You know, I don't know if it's a mental – like I think the issue with that is I think, and again, I don't know the answer, otherwise I just wouldn't do it. I've had the last couple of months I've had the worst case of that where I just can't bring my range game to the course. People talk about that all the time. I'll hit like 12 drivers, great drive, not like all perfect. I'm not fucking Rory, but like there'll be really solid drives that even the worst one would be like in the right rough and you're fine. It went out there pretty good ways. And I get to the first tee and they'll be like, 2 off the first tee. And I hit this habit at Whisper Rock. I like towed one off to the right, and then I teed another one up. I'm like, yeah, great time, guy. And then I hit just a high hook out of play left. And I'm like, dude, how is that physically possible? And I think it's better to have a shitty range. All my good rounds are after I've had a shitty range session because mentally you're in a better place on the course when you do inevitably hit a bad shot because you know that they're coming. Whereas like when you have a great range session, you somehow get on this – your expectation, your bar raises, and then when you go below it, we're not mentally tough enough to recover from that, and it's just a train wreck.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know why. If I have a good range session, I genuinely think I'm going to birdie or par every hole. And it's like, what, dude, the highest score, the best, or I guess the lowest score I've ever had was an 89. Why do I think all of a sudden I'm going to go out there and hit a 71? Like I'm the biggest idiot in the world to think that I can do that, but I do. And all that ends up doing is me by the third hole start slugging some Jack and Coke, whatever. And I'm just like, okay, I'm done golfing. I'm done golfing for the day. I'm just going to drink.
Is Jack your go-to? I feel like country singers, Jack's like the go-to for everybody. Eric Church has songs about it.
Oh, Church does. I do. Yeah, it always has been, man. I don't know why. I had a real tough experience with it way back in college, and I laid off it for like a couple of years. And then I remember one night at the bar, I was at La Res in Chapel Hill, and my buddies were handing around shots, and it was Jack, and I smell it. I'm just like, oh man, I can't do this. And I did it. I toughed it out, did the right thing, and I don't know why. From that night on, as soon as I did that, I was clear and good to go. So I've actually switched though. I've started Jack and Coke's kind of always been my thing. And I've started drinking Jack and Pepsi, and I've just to piss people off because they're like, "Well, you get that Jack and Coke?" I'm like, "No, it's a Jack and Pepsi." They're like, "What?" Confuses them, but it's amazing.
Dude, isn't it funny how you get a nice little kick out of stupid shit like that in life? Just like, you're setting them up for it. Like, oh yeah, you're pouring it. You're like showcasing you pouring it so that they'll laugh. You're like, no, it's a Jack and Pepsi. Like, dumbass.
Jack and Pepsi. It's a Jack and Mountain Dew. They're like, what? No. Hey, it's good. Try it.
Do you drink like on stage when you perform?
Oh yeah. I'll have one or two before I go on. And then the problem is the more I drink, the better I think I do. And I'm like, I come off stage, I'm like high-fiving everybody. I'm like, I was the man out there. And then it never fails. The next day, the drummer comes on my bus. My drummer, Jeremy, comes on the bus. He's like, what's up, boss, man? You were just kind of all over the place last night. And I'm like, no, dude, it was a great show. And then I'll listen back to some of the recordings. I'm like, oh man, I was definitely all over the place last night. So I try to hold back now. And I don't even remember because it's been literally this year. I've had like 2 shows this year. But so I've had to be a lot more careful because I go on. I've done a lot of acoustic shows, but I haven't had the full band. When you have the full band, you can kind of hide behind them, and mistakes don't show as much. When it's you and a guitar, if you're falling off your stool, people are probably going to notice that. So I've had to be careful this year, but I like having a couple before I go on. And then there's a certain point about halfway through where I'm like, okay, the tougher part's over. I'm singing a bunch of songs from here on out that I really, really know well enough to not screw up. I can let loose a little bit.
Man, it's funny. We're not on the same level and not even close. So I'm going to preface it with that. But like, we do a couple podcasts a week. It's an audio show. And
you guys are killing it, man.
Doesn't happen a lot, but like we've done, I don't know, probably 10, 15 times over the 300 plus shows we've done where I've clearly been drinking. And we've had shows where other people drink, but and in my mind, I'm like, man, like, we were ripping. Like, that was a funny fucking show. We had a great time. We were on point. And then inevitably, like, the show goes out at midnight, so people start getting in for their morning commute. And by 7, 8 a.m., I'll see 15 tweets. And I'm like, Riggsy was cranked for that show. That was a good one. I'm like, in my brain, nobody could tell. And it's just these people that there's no visual, there's no nothing. They're just listening. They're like, oh, yeah, that guy's hammered. And you're like, fuck, I didn't think anybody knew.
Yeah, that's the worst. But it always goes back to I think it's expectations, like you said. For me, like high school football, I'd come in on Monday, I'd be like, oh man, I had the best game ever, 16 tackles. I was the man, and I always watched it, and I'm like, damn, it doesn't look near as good as I thought it did. And then I'd come in, I'd be like, oh my God, that was the worst game ever. I missed a tackle. Like in high school football, if you miss one tackle, all of a sudden you're the worst player ever in your head. And then you watch the tape, and you're like, oh, that wasn't near as bad as I thought. So I think it's all expectations, but I think the rule of thumb is, it's just funny, like with your guys' job, my job, it's not only acceptable to drink on the job, it's expected and praised to drink on the job. The more of a shit show you are, it's like the more attention you get these days. And I don't understand why that's a thing. But I've kind of gotten a little bit past that part of my life where now I'm actually focused on the music. I'm focused on the songs. People are paying good money. Like it's easy to do when they're paying $5 to come see you play.
Right. But
when they're paying a lot of money to come see you play, and there's a lot of people showing up, it's like, okay, I probably should give these people their money's worth.
Yeah, it is. I do think. I guess I don't know. I'm just guessing, but I think it's authentic, right? It's like if this guy's singing about Jack and Pepsi, and those are the jams that I listen to.
It sounds so funny, don't it?
And then I go see him perform, and he's like, he's got a full cocktail back there. Like, that's pretty authentic. So I feel like maybe that's why people like it so much. But yeah, it is a tough balance. Like, our brand is like, it's Barstool. Like, these guys are normal dudes, normal people, normal women who just shoot the shit, and it feels like we're in the room. And if they're having a couple cocktails, like, that's what normal people do. So I think you're right. Like, you can get away with it a little bit, but also sometimes afterwards you're like, I could probably be better.
You could probably be better. Yeah, that's how I feel. And for me, I'm at the point in my career where it's still very, very real. Jack's always been my thing. Mix it with whatever. I did shit lately. I've just been drinking it literally. Like, last night we were sitting around the fire here at camp, and I'm just sitting there drinking Sinatra, just straight. And it's amazing. You get into that mode, you're like, okay, you're starting to really appreciate Jack Daniels or whatever you're drinking, without the mixer.
Right.
I'm at a point in my life now where the job is very important to me. At this point, the party mode, I love partying, but I got to get the job done first. The songs, the way I sing them, the way I'm running around on stage, the way I'm interacting with the crowd, I got to get that done first, and then I'll go out and have a great time. But it's definitely, it's fun to get to a point in your career where it's not just about a party anymore. It's like, man, I'm genuinely thinking about how do I make this a 20-year run, as opposed to, hell, I don't care what happens. I'm just in Detroit tonight and I want to have fun.
I'm interested in the like performing aspect, right? Like you just talked about, it's a performance. You're an entertainer interacting with the crowd, and like, especially for you guys, performance is how you guys like doing shows, is how you make a lot of your money with like the different streaming and how to. So, I mean, do you like look at how other people, like I think of Kenny Chesney, right? Like he's one of the, in terms of country and performing, like people could, and there's debates like whether you love or hate his music. Is he too poppy? Is he classic? Like whatever. But in terms of performing, that guy fucking delivers. Like he just puts on a performance. So do you like look at stuff like that and try to see how you can be more, not necessarily like somebody else, but how you can beef up your own performances?
Absolutely. Before this year, we were actually with one of Springsteen's old, not, I guess, stagecoach is what you could call them. But there's people who can take your show and elevate it. I've always had a great show. Live show has always been one of our strengths. But like you said, it could be better. I mean, you go out there and our band rocks. I mean, we were on the Chesney tour. It was me, Chesney, and Eric Church. And you had Eric Church's and Kenny's band on the side stage watching us perform. That's a huge compliment. It's like, oh, they really want to see what we're doing and they enjoy it. And that even a bunch of Chesney's people, they said, when you guys bring it, we know we got to go onto a stage and bring it ourselves. And that's just a huge compliment. But at the same time, I'm going to be on the same side of the stage when they're on, when Church is on. And Church and Chesney, that was such a cool concert because they're so different. Eric's up there. He doesn't run around as much as Kenny does, but he's got a thing about him that makes you shut up and want to hear his songs, and makes you want to focus in on what he has to say. And Kenny's up there running around singing however many number ones he has. I don't know, but his shows are so energetic and crazy fun to watch. I try to take it in, but at the same time, you can overthink it and be like, oh, I got to do this move. Like it's like the golf thing. It's like, you're not at your best when you're doing that.
Right.
So I try to watch it, take a couple notes in my head, and then go try it the next night. And the one thing I've noticed that I really want to get better on this year is not talking so much on stage. People want to come see you. They want to hear you talk. But at the same time, I want to sing 17 songs instead of 13 if it's going to be in the same amount of time. And then when you do say something and when you do talk, people are going to listen. And I listened back to one of my shows. I was like, damn, I'm just talking too damn much. They didn't pay to come see me talk. They paid to come see me sing. And there's always points where you can do that, but you really need to get to the music and deliver the songs, which is why the people are there. And I actually got that idea, like you talked about taking notes from people. I listened to Eric Church's live record, and I'm sure it's edited and they cut some songs out, or I don't know. I'd have to ask him, but man, he doesn't talk a whole lot, and he gets right to the music. The transitions of the songs are awesome. And that's just a testament to who Eric is as an artist.
That's interesting, man. That's so, because I've seen both those guys. You know, we were there with you at Jake Owens' event last year, which obviously that was a little bit more of like a private, smaller thing, but still, it's like a live show. And like, you guys were you guys were crushing it. You can tell too, you get into it, which is cool. Like you can tell you love it, which goes such a long way. But it's funny to hear you kind of break down the talking versus amount of time played, because as a fan, I would never think about that. You just absorb the show, right? Like Trent, it's the same thing. It's like we just observe, and whatever the show is, that's just the show. But behind, there's a person who like delivers that show, which in this case, it's fucking you. We're talking to you. And like, it's up to you to determine how much to talk, not talk, which songs. And you're right. Like when you guys break in between songs and you kind of give your little spiel, a lot of times you give like a background about the next song. And I'm thinking, like, I do think the best that do that, they keep it concise and then they're right into the next one. And ultimately, at the end of the day, like when you go, you kind of tell everybody about like which songs and how many songs you heard live and what it was like. You don't talk about what fucking Chase was telling me about like hunting with the boys last weekend. You talk.
Yeah. That goes back to like in the moment, if you're telling this long story about hunting with the boys or whatever you're doing on stage, and if you're drinking, you're having a blast, that can feel good in the moment. But at the same time, you listen back and you're like, man, that had nothing to do with why people were showing up to watch me play. Like, I think it should, for me, I'm learning. And here's the thing, if you're dead set on your show, and I've had years where I was like this, where it was the same show every night, man, it's not a good place to be. I think the best people, the best artists, no matter what your job is, are the people that are obsessed with just getting better. No matter what year it is, look at Michael Jordan. He was just obsessed with getting better. And I think that's the biggest thing for me in my career, because it's still a very young career, but I've learned so much this year. I mean, the year with Kenny, Eric, that was huge. This year, our last big show was with Garth Brooks, and nobody does it better than Garth Brooks up on stage, where he sits there and gets done with, Honky Tonk Bar Association, and then it's ringing out, and he just looks at the crowd. Garth has this thing. He looks at the crowd. It's just, he's mesmerized that they are so into it. And I think a little bit of that is just part of his show, but I think a lot of it is just how Garth is as a person. So he looks at the crowd. He's excited. The crowd starts cheering because they can see that he's excited. And then he takes off his hat and says, "Oh, man, Detroit, we've waited to be here for a while. This one's called Friends in Low Places," or whatever he goes into. And he gets right into the song. And actually that song, he starts with the 3 notes that start the whole song. But there's nobody, I've learned from the best. I've literally learned from the best in the business. So I'm excited to take what I've learned even this year and the next year and do some more live shows and be even better than we were before.
Very cool, man. It's very interesting. Always just kind of hearing how the sausage is made and the thought process that goes into it. And again, like, especially something that anybody can relate to. Everybody's been to a show. Everybody's been to a concert. So like hearing from the other side of it is fascinating. Tell us about the new single. I know it was kind of spawned from quarantine, and there's a lot of themes that people could probably relate to involved in it.
Yeah, Drinking Beer, Talking God, Amen. It's with Florida Georgia Line. And the biggest thing for me about it was I've never done a major collaboration ever. I've never put one out as a single. I've never really put one out, period, as a major thing. So I wanted my first one to be something. I think some collabs can come from just popular artists coming together and making a big song, which is cool. But I personally wanted it to be personal to me, and there couldn't be anything more personal than Brian and Tyler from Florida Georgia Line, because I moved to Nashville in 2010, moved into their house. They just started this thing that Brian was like, yeah, we're going to call it Florida Georgia Line. And as soon as I saw what they were doing, I was like, man, these guys they're talented. And I'd grown up with Brian, but I'd never seen him be as good as he was when him and Tyler were together, and just like, they just had a thing. And then we wrote Cruise 2012. That came out and changed country music history, really, which is something I'm very, very blessed to be a part of. But 10 years goes by and all of a sudden we haven't worked together, which is kind of crazy, but life just goes that way. And then all of a sudden it comes back. That's a testament to what they've done and how great they've been for that long. And a testament to me and our guys raising our game up to that level, which is really cool to see. But the song itself, that's kind of the background of how the song happened. The song itself is just so relevant to this year. Drinking Beer, Talking God, Amen. I've sat around more fires this year I've definitely drank more beers. I never thought I'd need tour to get back going so I could calm my shit down and get back to focusing on music. My God. I like to have fun on tour, but I didn't realize how much fun I like to have during quarantine. I need to get back on tour quick. But, yeah, man, it's just a song about conversation, song about real life, song about how life's been for a lot of us this year, having to slow down, which I think has been a really, really good thing in the grand scheme of things, even though it's kind of sucked at times. It's been really cool to sit around and get to know people in a way that normally you never would.
Yeah, definitely. And we had, we had kind of a similar sentiment from Seth Waugh, he's the I think CEO of the PGA of America or leader of the PGA of America, whatever his exact title. He runs the show with PGA of America, PGA Championship, all that stuff. And he was talking a good amount about, and this must have been in May or April. I mean, it was pretty early in quarantine. But he was talking about, quarantine sucks. Everybody knows it sucks. Bars are shut down. People are getting sick. People are dying. It sucks. He's like, but when you look at some of the positives you can take away, he's like, spending time with family and the amount of, kind of like removing yourself from a lot of the typical robotic stuff in life and like how much you just kind of sit around and interact and chat and get to like know and understand people better has been something that's kind of come a lot out of quarantine. I feel like the song, like you said, represents that. So it's just kind of interesting for people to reflect about.
Yeah, for sure. I mean, I don't think we'll ever have another thing like this happening in our lifetime. If it does, we'll deal with it. But I try, and I don't do it well all the time, but I'm trying to take the positives out of it. And the song itself is actually a positive. I don't think without quarantine, I don't think this song is happening. And I definitely don't think it's happening with FGL. I think everything led to this point where it was like, all right, let's get together in the studio and maybe work together again, produce this song together again. And that turns into, man, this song just feels like it should be a duet. How about you guys get on it? And Brian being like, man, it'd be fun to have a CRFGL song again 10 years later. It's just, all the stars align, and we've had a hell of a start. I just hope that we can play this song live next year. I think we'll be able to. The vaccines are all coming out. I think live shows will start coming back. They've been happening, but they just haven't been happening at a level that is exciting in the way music's supposed to be listened to. But if we can get back to that and be playing this song live, and at some point me and FGL get up on stage together, that's going to be one hell of a show.
Hell yeah. Well, look, man, keep it up. We're all pumped. I think everybody's pumped for shows to come back. I think that's one of the biggest things. We all talk about bars, going out to restaurants. We got a little bit of taste of that. Now things are kind of shutting back down, but I feel like shows are going to pop off. Like that's going to be people are like that, and going to games, right? Like going to football games, going to hockey games, going to PGA Tour events, whatever it is. That and live shows, because live shows are, I mean, we've talked so much about the performance on this show already, but live shows, people miss live shows, man.
Yeah, man, I miss them. I miss shit. I just want to go see one. I was going to see Springsteen this year. I was going to see Willie Nelson this year. I'm excited for the day that I can go do that. It needs to happen. It will happen. It's going to be a renaissance period, right? For sure. It's going to be crazy as soon as the floodgates do open. It's going to be like, you might try to shut them, but good luck. People are ready.
Look, we appreciate the time as always, and we got to check out your little golf house at Troubadour next time we're in town. We got to get you in a better golf mindset than just jumping in as the fourth man in a scramble and a tight match down the stretch.
Yeah, I don't think I helped the team pull through at all, but Jake certainly wasn't helping our cause. I think he'd had a little bit of help from whatever he was drinking that day. I think he actually snapped the axle of a golf cart that day. But, man, I appreciate you guys. I want to be able to show you. I want to be able to show you my improvement. I've got my Peace 790s ready to go, my TaylorMades. That's not a sponsorship. That's just what I happen to buy at Golf Galaxy. So they feel good. I'm getting better with them. I'm excited to play with you guys again.
What a plug. That couldn't have been a better plug for us if you tried. The P790s are sick. They're new.
I have played P790s as well.
Do you? Yeah, that's what it was between those and the Mizuno MP20s, I think. And I went with the 790s, and I was just like, they just felt good. They had some crazy pop. I was hitting the ball further. By the way, on a simulator machine, I don't think I've ever hit a bad shot. Those things are full of shit. Like I can't miss the green on those things, but I can certainly miss the green on the course. But the 790s are legit.
They're trying to rope you in with those simulators, dude. It's like they know if you hit right. Like every golfer says, if you that one good shot that keeps you coming back on the golf course. Well, now imagine a simulator can just all the shots are good. Of course, you're gonna fucking come back.
It's like I can shank it, but somehow the ball like goes up in the air, comes back, and lands on the green. It's like, oh, that's the club. It'll do that on the course too. It doesn't do that on the course too.
It's so true. I got the 770s and they're sick, so we're on the same page with that.
Well, let's get on the course and do it again soon, man. Y'all get down to Nashville. I'm a member at Troubadour now. I was closing it when you guys were out there, but now I'm on there.
Hell yeah. We'll get out. We'll play. We got to check out that improvement. And we got to come to a show. That's like, we got to come to a show.
Yeah, that'll be a whole thing. I don't think you guys have you came to the Jake thing, but that was all acoustic stuff. Get to a full band, real live show, and we got a backstage bar. That's when you guys can just relax and have some fun.
Hell yeah. All right, Chase. We appreciate it, man. Have fun out there.
Hell yeah. Good talking to you boys, man.
Yeah, brother.
Later.